Hello, after the last Bible study in Psalm 80, this Psalm 81 is a real breath of fresh air, and starts up in a very excited, energetic way. So we're going to enjoy this psalm, and of course, as often in the Psalms, there's a little bit of bumpy road in the middle, but even in that, there's hope that emerges for us to grab hold of. Now, the first bit of this psalm is really the psalmist is reminding the people of what's important, and I think it's a great reminder for us as part of our walk with God. And so I'm going to read the first bit because it's just brilliant. It says, "Sing praises to our God, our strength. Sing to the God of Jacob. Sing, beat the tambourine, play the sweet lyre and the harp. Blow the ram's horn at new moon, and again at full moon to call a festival. For this is required by the decrees of Israel. It is a regulation of the God of Jacob. He made it a law for Israel when he attacked Egypt to set us free." Let's read the next bit. He said, "I heard an unknown voice say, 'Now I will take the load from your shoulders. I will set your hands free from their heavy tasks.' You cried to me in trouble, and I saved you. I answered you out of the thundercloud and tested your faith when there was no water at Meribah." And just that first bit, I was just thinking about that. There appears to be sort of two aspects to the worship here. There's this worship that is a set festival, a set time. It's a gathering together of the people of God to gather, to praise, to worship, to lift his name. But there's also that touching on that element of worship that is a personal, day-to-day heart towards God. And both are vital as we walk with God day by day, week by week. And it's very easy to get into a routine about Sundays. Oh, it's Sunday again, this is what we do. But Sunday can become one of those calling by God moments. Come together and meet with him together, express our heart, allow him to express his heart. And worship in its many forms is vital in our life in God. It keeps our internal, what's the word? It keeps us going true north. Let's put it like that. It's like praise and worship will realign us if we get out of line. It will help us stay true on days where maybe we're struggling, but it will in the words, in the songs, they will remind us who God is and what he's done for us. So that is just a little bit of what worship can do for us. It's like, okay guys, are we singing our praises to God? Are we singing our praises to the God of history, the God of Jacob? You might not have a tambourine or a lyre or a harp, and if you have, you might not be able to play it. But it's what it's expressing is that release that comes. Let's release ourselves to worship. Let's release ourselves to praise. Let's release our hearts to overflow. It's like, boop, boop, boop. Not very good, but it's like, allow the energy, the excitement that's within you for God to emerge, and make sure you take time. And then there's this wonderful next bit where there's a promise of God to really offload. And I think that's part of the Sabbath. We heard a great talk in Wrexham a couple of weeks ago on the Sabbath rest, and that challenge to find places of rest, that the Sabbath isn't a legal day of not doing anything, but is a place of breaking the routines and allowing ourselves to re-strengthen and recover. And there's a promise of God here that he answers. So, and God, the next bit of this, God gives some warnings. He says, hey, don't worship foreign gods. Don't get seduced by that stuff. Don't get pulled into it. And the promise of God is, if you don't bow down to false gods, then they can take many forms. Then he's the rescuer. He's the one that will fill our life and bring good things. And he goes on and says, and this is in the Old Testament, he's like saying, hey, the people didn't listen. The people did their own thing. They followed their own desires. They went after their own ideas. They lived their own way. He says they wouldn't listen. And it's like the heart cry of God, if only my people would walk on the path that I gave them. If only they would stay true to what I've said. Then he says this, and we've touched on this before, but I think it's important in our understanding of the Old Testament. He said, oh, that Israel would follow me, walking in my paths. How quickly I would then subdue their enemies. How soon my hand would be upon their foes. And those who hate the Lord would cringe before him. They would be doomed forever, ever. And I would feed you with the finest wheat. I would satisfy you with honey from the rock. You see, we've got to remember God put these things in place. If people would obey and put him first, there was a flow of blessing from heaven. When they realigned into something else, then it blocked the flow, and then there was consequences of that. So this psalm, it sort of covers a number of things. It says, hey, worship is central, following me is central. And then God said in the Old Testament, if you don't, there's consequence. And I think for us in the New Testament, I think we need to keep reminding ourselves of what Jesus has done. It's like, let's make sure we're rooted and understanding the cross, the resurrection, the power of the Holy Spirit being poured out. We need to understand we're temples of the Holy Spirit. We're children of God. There's so many different aspects. It's impossible to cover them properly in short time. But let's remember those things. And because of what he's done, we release ourselves as a people of praise, a people of worship. And we trust him at times to bring adjustment. And if we do go off track, let's not wait for something to draw us on track again, but let's readjust. Make sure we've got true north. Make sure our heart is right before God. And as we do that, recognize that God, he's on our side, he's working on our behalf. And Jesus came, didn't he? He came to completely forgive sin. He came to completely set us free. And again, we were just talking to someone this weekend and saying, hey, we know that Jesus has done it all. We know that he's freed us from stuff, but also there's a journey of coming free. And sometimes we need to take that up and go, I'm stuck here. There's something blocking my path. I don't know what it is. What have I made a vow, a judgment, unforgiveness, whatever it is that I need to work through, so that I can be free and fully express who I am in God. So Psalm 81, I'm going to encourage you, take a few minutes and read that first bit and then shift yourself to a place of worship and be deliberate about your worship. And also, as part of it, we can worship generally, but ask yourself the question, what is it I worship God for? Here he focuses the God of Jacob. You think he's looking at some aspects of the history of Jacob there, but what has God done for you that will allow your praise and stir you to praise and worship him more and more? Bless you. Thank you for being with me, and look forward to being with you next time as we move on to Psalm 82, which is a nice short psalm. Okay, bye for now.